All right, we're back once again, Roundtable 78, and we got a packed house here, man. This looks like the Brady Bunch right here with all these squares we got here. First, we got the Mighty Ring IQ. We got the Maestro Boxing. We got the Captain of Nostalgia, D-Style Boxing. We got Base the Kid, UK's finest. We got Dave from the 408 Shoe Shine. And making his long-awaited return, we got the mighty G Funky Boxing, baby.
You can't call everybody mighty. You're running out of nicknames.
Easy, buddy. Just sit there with the saw cap on. All right. So a lot of talk's been going around now after Tyson Fury's big win over Dillian White. Some people are happy to talk about this. Other people are like, why are we even having this conversation? It's way too early. So I'm going to ask the question, and I'm dying to hear what everyone says on this. Is Tyson Fury ready to be called an all-time great? Going to start with you, Maestro.
I mean, he's definitely ready to be called an all-time great. Now, there's a lot of haters out there that, start to create matchups in their mind that honestly sometimes, but not even sometimes, I'd say usually impossible to argue with. I'll give you one. Mike Tyson destroys Tyson Fury. Well, okay, how? Well, he's going to get inside. He's going to rip the body. And, look at what Steve Cunningham did to Tyson Fury. Look, at the end of the day, I make a very simple, I have a very simple methodology about these things. I separate the eras. I have a 15-round era. I have a 12-round era, and amongst the people in the 12-round era, I divided between the 3-belt and 4-belt era. So look, Lennox Lewis is an all-time great because he was the greatest of the 12-round 3-belt era. No one fucks with Lennox Lewis. I don't want to hear that, Mike Tyson wasn't in his prime. Well, when was his prime? Well, it was 3 years in the 1980s when he was in his early 20s. Nothing else counts. We're only going to look at 3 years in his early 20s. And if you're not talking about those 3 years of Mike Tyson's career, it doesn't even count because he wasn't in the prime. I'm sorry, that makes no sense. All right? Lennox was the best of his era. He beat everyone that mattered except for Riddick Bowe, and Riddick Bowe refused to fight him. That's not his fault. He already knocked out Riddick Bowe as an amateur. This is probably why Riddick Bowe didn't want any in the pros. So look, he's the king of the 3-belt era, 12 rounds. Since that time, right, once we entered the 12-round 4-belt era, when you don't need to defend your title or unify with the likes of a Herbie Hyde, who was the WBO champ when Lennox was reigning, Tyson Fury's the best. He beat Klitschko in Klitschko's prime in Dusseldorf. There's no one else in the discussion. There isn't anyone. AJ, I'm sorry, fans of AJ, he's not in the discussion. He's not. Usyk, he may be in the discussion if he beats AJ and then he beats Fury. I'm hoping that fight happens. But right now, Tyson Fury is the clear king of the 12-round 4-belt era. And that makes him an all-time great. And that's my methodology. That's my argument.
Ring, I'm going to go to you on this one. What are your thoughts on the conversation?
I mean, it depends on what you classify as an all-time great, because I'm going by the statements that were made and the people that they compared him to, the hyperbole that was out there. Now, that he could be an all-time great, if you tell me top 25, top 15, I'm with you. But once you get into that top 10 or what's in that top 15, that's a disconnect, because like Maestro said, I don't compare 15-round fighters to 12-round fighters. That makes absolutely no sense. The second thing is, a part of what made guys like Joe Louis and Muhammad Ali so great is they cleaned out the division. There's nobody that he didn't fight. There's nobody. Ken Norton, Ernie Shavers, Sonny Liston, Joe Frazier 2 times, George Foreman. Like, come on, we know the names, right? Whereas when I look at Fury, I'm like, look, man, I'm going to compare yours to Rocky Marciano, because people felt like Rocky retired abruptly, right? But here's the facts. Rocky retired at 32, 49-0, 43 knockouts. Bro, you 33 with 33 fights. And I'm going to put you in the top 10. Well, for that, okay, then I hope all 33 of them guys is some motherfucking guys. And we know, no, they're not. It's really only 3, victories that are worth talking about. The Klitschko fight, which if we talk about, that era, that fight, you get pelted with popcorn, bro. If you in the Rocky Marciano, y'all want to talk about Rocky Marciano and Sonny Liston and Ali and Larry, all them, right? That same fight, you get pelted with popcorn and booed out the goddamn ring. If we gonna really be real with the shit, but you won, so I give it to you. And you talk about the Wilder fight, which look, it qualifies. He was a champion and he was a long reigning champion. But let's not blow it out of proportion because he has a thin resume. He has a very thin resume. So Fury can be an ATG. That's not the argument. The argument is putting him up there with Larry and Joe and Jack Johnson. Like, huh? With Wilder, White, and Klitschko. He up there. Nah, we can't do that. I can't do that. That makes no sense. All right.
That era, Ring. The Jack Johnson era where a round ended when you got knocked down and he restarted again.
But
again, a different era.
Yeah, but this is my thing. When they talked about, right after he knocks out White, who most people didn't feel was very good anyway, the people that are actually on board for the hyperbole, they didn't give White a shot anyway. So it's kind of crazy that you could say that, well, this guy's awful. He doesn't stand a chance. So then why the fuck would knocking him out elevate you to where Larry and them is at? That doesn't make any sense. Larry has second most title defenses out of a heavyweight champion. Joe Louis has the most. Behind him is Klitschko. Now, granted, you beat Klitschko, but we know it don't work like that. Just because you beat him don't put you up there with him. We ain't got fucking Leon Spinks as an all-time great, right? We ain't got Buster Douglas as an all-time great. So it takes more than a singular victory to be in that hall with them people. And all I'm saying is, look, Fury's a great fighter. Is he an all-time great fighter? Depends on how great we talking. Top 25? Top 20? Yeah. But not more than top 15. Like, nah, bro. Dempsey, Tooney, Marciano, Lewis, Holmes, Lewis again, even Tyson. Because, look, Tyson, I say it all the time. Motherfuckers can say what they want about the fights that he lost. The reality is he's a guy who, out of the top 10 in his era, he fought fucking 8 of them. I look at Fury. If I don't see that, you're not in that conversation, bro. Not with those guys. You a little further down. You there, but you not among those guys. That makes no sense.
Gotcha. Shout out to Nando Lamas. He says if they gotta compare you to all timers to diminish you, that's already a huge win. I agree. All right, G. Is Tyson Fury an all-time great?
I think it's a good question. Fury has had each belt in the heavyweight division. He's held them all, not at the same time, but he's held them all at one point or another. So I think that would certainly qualify him to be considered an all-time great. But as far as like ranking goes, like I think that's kind of what I've been hearing from Ring IQ and Maestro. Like I think that's a different question. So I personally, I don't know where I would rank him yet. I haven't even really thought about it. But I think that when you look at what he's done, right, holding each title in the heavyweight division, which is the division in boxing, whether we like it or not, it would certainly put you in consideration as an all-time great. But as far as where he ranks amongst the rest of them, I don't know yet. I just don't know yet. But I'll tell you this. I mean, I don't think he beats Ali. I mean, I've heard that already. I don't think he beats Muhammad Ali, but I'll just say that's all I got to say on that one.
All right. D-Style, is Tyson Fury an all-time great? Take the mute off, brother.
I got muted, as you know, I'm being censored out here. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going on, but like, I don't know this is going to be a PR show for Tyson Fury, like, where we got to like pump him up. You know what I mean? I didn't get the memo, but look, is he an all-time great? It depends. Like define all-time great for me, Pete, and then I'll answer the question.
I think there's two ways of looking at it. If you do hypothetical matchups, that's always going to be opinion based. right?
Okay.
I think it's fair to say that he can compete in any era, in my opinion, right?
Fair enough.
So that's good. I mean, whether I think he could beat these guys, which I think he can beat a lot of these
So we're
guys,
talking accomplishments.
based off accomplishments, these other guys beat him. But I'm going to make an argument. I'm going to make an argument how he may have a better resume than Holmes, and I'll tell you why.
Okay. So look, here's my thing. No, it doesn't. But
Yes,
but anyway, like here's let me just put it this way, okay?
I watched Holmes live.
I remember before they aired because I saw it at the theater, nice big screen, right? And I'm gonna watch the third fight with Fury and Wilder. Okay, good amount of people there. I was kind of impressed, right? And before they walked out, I don't know what was going on in Wilder's dressing room, but they started showing highlights of all the great heavyweight fights. Okay, and I'm watching these guys fight, and I'm saying to myself, heavyweights today aren't this good. Like when you take them as a whole, they're just not that good. The pack isn't that good. The competition is not that good. It just isn't, right? Like there isn't like a dude a lot. Like when we talk Ali, you could put some of his opponents in the ring with Fury. You can't put any of these dudes that Fury beat in the ring with Ali. Are you going to put a Dillian White with Ali? He would lay a glove on Ali. He would embarrass him. Too fast, too quick. It's not even close. No knock on White. Okay? Otto Wallen, I'm sorry. Wouldn't stand a shot against Ali. So the reason I always say, anytime somebody say, I say, okay, match his opponents with Ali. And they always give me the same answer. Oh, Ali beats them. Like without question, that they say that, right? Holmes beats them. There isn't a person on this panel going to tell me, all right, that his latest opponent could fuck with Holmes. Like it just isn't, right? So just to answer your question, I think anyone who's the best in their era, all right, has to be considered amongst the all-time greats. Because if you were to write a book about boxing and every chapter is an era, he's going to be in that book. So I think that's what it's going to make him a quote-unquote all-time great. But is he amongst the best? I actually said this on Monday as well, and I agree with Ring IQ. I have him around top 15, which is not a criticism. That's not tearing him down. That's top 15 in the history of fucking boxing. That is amazing. That is a compliment. That's not tearing him down, Nando. Right? That's not what that is. And another thing, if he wants to prove that he's too big for the legends of the past, well, prove it against Usyk. He's 6'4", 6'3". You could show it in the flesh. Just show it to us. Show us that you can fuck up a dude that's only 6'3". How about you show it? Because I'm just telling you right now. I ain't going to give you no benefit of the doubt. You don't fight Usyk, I'm going to be screaming to the moon, you fucking ducked. That's all I got.
That's
Well,
how
the thing is, D-Style, you look up
Let
and
everyone go around first, Maestro.
okay, good, because I got a lot to say. Let me
I know, because when I speak, people want to respond because I'm great at what I do, baby. Let's go.
I definitely want to respond, but we're going to get into that, though.
Yeah, we're going to get into it. Dave, go ahead.
Get into that.
Absolutely not yet. All right. Not yet. Okay. First of all, accomplishments like you guys are talking about, he's got some spectacular ones, man. He took it away from Klitschko, the lineal champ. That's the spectacular one, the first of many, right? The trilogy he delivered with Deontay Wilder will go down in the history books. I don't think we grasp how much it should be appreciated, what he delivered with Deontay Wilder. So just on those merits, he's almost there. He's on the cusp. He's on the brink of being an all-time great. But what I saw this week with him and Bob Arum and bringing in that UFC fighter and all this about Bob Arum saying this is going to be potentially the biggest showcase fight and all this money is going to be made, I'm starting to smell a duck. Like he wants to duck the winner of the Usyk-Joshua fight. And I'm presuming Usyk wins that handily again. So I don't know what I smell, but it kind of starts to smell like a little bit like a duck. Like he doesn't want to fight this small Usyk guy. And all he has to do is fight the winner. Fight the winner of Usyk versus Joshua, and I favor him against Joshua big time. I mean, it's almost a given that he beats Anthony Joshua. That's all he's got to do. is take on that winner. And for me, he will absolutely be on the all-time greatest list.
Last but not least, Base the Kid, is Tyson Fury an all-time great? I think I know the answer to this.
All right. So an all-time great, I have a hard time saying that, and this isn't even a bias towards him. But when we look at it, right, you've got people within the 60s, you've got people in the 70s. Someone, for instance, let's look at someone like Ernie Shavers. Never won a world title in his era. You tell me he doesn't clean up in this era with the level of competition we've got now? So there's people in other eras who aren't considered just because they could never win the championship in their time. Now, if we look at Fury, okay, so you say he's won all the belts at different points, never held all of them at the same time, but he won 3 of them off of Klitschko. Never gave him that rematch, so we don't know if it was a lucky, a lucky victory in that time of Klitschko just maybe not being at the races, or if it was just genuinely he's just levels above him. We don't know that. Then you've got the Wilder trilogy. Okay, Wilder long reigning champion, but we've all questioned his level of opposition throughout his entire career up till one Luis Ortiz, who's his only victory anyone ever talks about who's his most credible win. Who then doesn't have anyone on his resume to say, oh yeah, well, he was the killer of the division. Like, so when you start to stack it up, it's like, okay, I'm not sure how good you are in the era of what we're calling mediocrity. And Dillian Whyte, as much as everyone knows, he's actually my favorite heavyweight. I just love Dillian Whyte's attitude, but he's limited in that sense. No amateur background, started late, wasn't allowed to compete in the amateurs because of his kickboxing background. So you've got all of that, and someone learning on the job, someone who's like no footwork, is decent with decent hands but no footwork, very little head movement. We already know what the blueprint is to beat him, and even Fury didn't really look great on the weekend. So he did what he had to do. He negated him. Fine, but it's not like, oh, he just put on this masterclass to say, yeah, he's just levels above that guy. So then you've got the only 2 legitimate people that people consider as somewhat good now, which is AJ and Usyk, who are fighting for the other 3 belts, and he's saying I'm retired. So when you look at the resume outside of a Wilder and a Klitschko, because no one wants to give him Dillian Whyte as credible or say that Dillian Whyte was any good anyway. Well, you've got 2 like high profile wins. 4 wins over 2 people, and everyone else on the resume, like everyone else in the division will beat. So how does that really make you an all-time great? I know they say, oh, you can only fight who's in your era and whatever, but if that's the case, you got to clean up and fight everybody. And he's not done that. So I don't know if I can call him an all-time great, but I can say he's the number 1 of his era right now. That's about as best a credit I can give him.
Yeah. Can I say this?
I think you hit it right on the head at the end there, man, to say he's going to have to clean it up, I think, to get in,
There's only 2 guys he hasn't fought. AJ,
but that's not
a lot. That's like that's 50% of the dudes.
Can I say this? Let me say this. See. We comparing Tyson Fury, who has never exhibited consistency, has never exhibited longevity. He's not exhibiting any of it now with all this retirement talk.
Neither did Mike Tyson. You named him as
No, you can't say that about Mike because Mike went to jail. Fury is leaving. He's saying, I want to leave. Mike went to jail. Ali got exiled. You see what I mean? These is extenuating circumstances. You sniffing coke and going away for 2 years is not extenuating circumstances.
He went to jail. He went to jail after he got knocked out by Buster Douglas.
That's cool, but I didn't say he didn't get knocked out. I'm saying Fury wants to leave, whereas these other guys had extenuating circumstances that kept them away from the ring. You're saying at 33, what, you burned out at 33? You burned, and we're gonna compare you. Wait, we're gonna compare you.
Here's a problem I have.
He's the best of all time, but he can't fight Usyk.
Here's a problem I have.
I didn't say he was the best of all time.
Here's a problem I have with these comparisons, right? A lot of times, right, we look at these guys. Like I can mention fights like Larry Holmes, Michael Spinks. Oh, well, that wasn't a prime Larry Holmes, right? But he was 34 years old. Tyson Fury is going to be 34 in August, right? Mike Tyson was 34 when Lennox Lewis beat him, right? So all these guys had like a done at 33, 34 years old. Sugar Ray Leonard, my favorite fighter of all time. I love him to death, right? But when he fought Terry Norris, he was 34 years old.
Tougher era.
Yeah,
That's
very tough.
subjective.
It took more punishment.
That's subjective. That's subjective. So let me finish.
It's not subjective.
Have you
That's
have you
objectively
heard-
not
have you
subjective.
heard-
I just got a
have you heard-
15
Larry
hold
Holmes.
on.
Larry
Hold
Holmes.
on.
15
Larry
round
Holmes.
era. 15
Larry
round era.
Holmes won the
Larry
title.
Holmes.
If your argument isn't he's better than Larry because he's 33 and
Have
Larry
you heard-
Watson was
No, no, no.
33,
Listen
if that's
what
not
I'm
your
saying.
argument, I don't know what the
Listen
hell
what
your
I'm
point is.
saying.
Club
Listen what I'm
piece.
saying. Listen what I'm saying. Every time we bring up a loss of Tyson, he's past his prime. Well, how old was he? 32.
What does that have to do with like?
It has a lot to do with everything. It has a
Haplo
lot
in his
because
panel? Like, what are you talking
every
about?
Joe, let me say
every
this.
time I have
Joe,
a
let me
debate
say
with
this.
somebody, Floyd, like when Floyd Mayweather, right, was 36 and he beats Canelo. Terry Norris was 24 years old when Ray Leonard lost, and Ray Leonard was 34.
Joe,
but Leonard was past it, and Terry Norris was in his prime.
But Fury owned Daddy said he lost the fucking John McDermott fighter, right? This is what I mean. We overlooking too much and giving him too much. I'm not even saying
because he didn't like the fact that Peter Fury was training his son and he had problems with the
bro,
way
bro,
Fury was
bro,
training him. I mean, we can go in-
the fight
go on
was
what Big John Fury says now.
no, not just what John Fury says. If you see the
It's
fight,
struggle
I
with
mean,
Otto Wallen, but he's gonna beat Larry
it's
Holmes.
not even. This is what I mean.
Larry
Why
Holmes.
are we in a hurry?
About
Why are
Otto
we in a
Wallen.
hurry? You comparing them to guys, and not even you
Struggle.
specifically. You not
I
you
compare 'em to
specifically.
guys.
Hold
compare
on.
'em to
Not
guys.
you specifically. Not you
But I do.
specifically.
I compare him to guys.
The comparisons that were made over the weekend are in association with boxers that actually defended the undisputed crown. Literally defended, not just achieved it, but defended. Now, let me make a point. We're talking about a guy who, listen, it ain't like Joshua versus Usyk 2 is next fucking year. It's going down this summer. And what are you talking about? You talking about you can't wait one fight for that fight. You
Okay,
can't
number
wait.
one.
Let me jump in because I got a great point.
And then I got a great point.
I remember
Struggle with Wallen.
watching. I remember watching.
He didn't struggle with Wallen.
rounds
Stop
to
it.
There. Anybody
I
else
remind-
that fight gets stopped on cuts?
Stop it.
Anybody else?
I
That
remember-
fight gets
I'm
stopped.
I'm
Wait,
just
wait,
saying,
wait.
he kind of struggled with the dude.
All
But
right,
then
let me get in. Let me get in.
He won 8 rounds. What you talking
Larry
about? Struggle.
Holmes.
that's how you
Larry
scored it
Holmes-
because you're like Fury.
Larry
I'm
Holmes.
just saying.
Larry Holmes won the WBC title off of Ken Norton. You know how Ken Norton became WBC champion? He fought an eliminator with Jimmy Young, right? And then he was supposed to fight Leon Spinks. Leon Spinks fought Muhammad Ali in the rematch, right? And they just gave him the WBC belt. And then Larry Holmes fought Ken Norton, and it went life and death with him. This was a 35-year-old Ken Norton that everyone said was way past his prime. Whatever the case would be, that's subjective, right? And then he went on to continue to defend that, and then he vacated that and became IBF. He never was the undisputed champion, ever. So, again, in terms of accomplishments, Tyson Fury has accomplished more than Larry Holmes.
Wait. Let me
Hold
say
up,
this.
hold
No,
up.
wait. Let me
turn.
say this.
My
I'm
turn.
talking about Muhammad Ali. I ain't just talking about Larry. I ain't just
All right,
talking
hold
about
on.
Larry.
Hold on,
Who
no,
they say he?
I gotta go now.
Who they
No, I
compare?
gotta
They
go.
compare him
Because
to
here's
Tyson
what
Fury.
happens. No. Here's what
I
happens.
remember being 7, 8, 9 years old. I used to watch boxing with my dad. This is Beeb Senior, right? In the living room, the hardwood floor, those big.
You're traded to your age.
Remember those? You guys don't even remember. We used to have these big wooden box TV consoles, these square blocks.
We get it. You're old.
We would watch these fights.
All right.
And you know what my dad said after Larry Holmes lost Michael Spinks? He looked over to me. He goes, "Son, this is the guy that they said was going to be the next Muhammad Ali. Can you believe it?" So they do this every era. They do this every era.
Listen.
Hold on. No. Hold on.
Go ahead, Maestro.
Hold on, because this is
We'll let you in
something.
a little bit, Micah.
This
Welcome
is
to
something
Welcome.
I've been dealing with as a fan of sports, not just boxing, but other sports. You start liking a player. Oh, well, in my day, this guy was tougher, bigger, badder, would have beat him. If Will Chamberlain was playing right now, he'd be scoring 100 points in the game. Look at this dude. Bob Cousy was way better than him. No. Athletes get bigger, stronger, faster, quicker. They have access to better training, sports science, and everything else. But boxing's different. Okay, we'll say boxing's
Heavyweight boxing's
different.
different.
We'll say boxing's different.
Wilder gassed out after one round. That man don't make it in a 15
here's
round
what I
era.
love.
Boxing's getting all the leftover athletes. It's not getting the top athletes, bro. That's a reality everybody needs to accept.
D-Cell's got to filibuster because he know he about to get bodied right now.
Oh, come on.
So just
anybody
wait
who says you're going to body something never bodies anybody.
Wait your turn because you're about to get bodied. Keep moving your lips. All right. So D-Style is one of the people that will like to say, well, you know, does anyone believe that Larry Holmes wouldn't have beaten XYZ Fury opponent? Well, why don't we start looking at Larry Holmes' opponents and start asking if Fury would have beat them?
Very weak era. Very weak era.
Leon's
better athletes than today.
No, they were not. They were fat.
No. Wait. Let me say this. Look, I grew up in the Holmes era.
I'm not going to get riled up.
I'm definitely not done. Because are we going to start talking about Carl Williams, James Smith, Marvin Frazier, Scott Frank, and these people? And
he was active. He was defending the belt.
Acting like Tyson Fury wouldn't.
The defending the belt so easy. Why didn't your boy do it? If it's so easy to be a defending champion, why did he do that then? Why can't he do that? Why is he incapable of it? If it's such a piece of cake, why didn't he do it?
That's the 2018 argument, fam. We in 2022 right now.
He's only got two title defenses.
He just offended again.
That's a reign.
That's two title defenses.
2018 dog with that nonsense. We're in 2022.
Are we talking
no longer reigning that shit?
Can I make this distinction? I just gotta ask a question. Are we actually talking professional accolades and statistics, or are we talking about fantasy fights?
They want people to bow down and Fury as the best heavyweight of all time is what they want.
What I'm doing
ain't gonna happen.
In my opinion, right? Accomplishment-wise, he's got light years to go.
All right.
I'm looking at because I watched these guys fight live, Larry Holmes, and I watched Muhammad Ali fight live.
Traitor to your age.
It may have been later in his career, in the, like 78-ish when he fought Leon Spinks, whatever. But I seen these guys live. One thing I noticed about Holmes, one thing I noticed about Ali, they hated fighting on the inside, and every time you got close to them, they grabbed you and they looked over to the ref, break it. Tyson Fury will collapse the pocket on these guys and he'll maul them.
Yeah, but right.
So that's what I'm saying.
Can we do a show, right, where we make our case for our fantasy fights? Because I remember distinctly.
That's a good show right there.
That's a good show, and
I've already done a show on that before, so I'm down with that.
This is
my argument against Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, and he's, I'm not shitting on him. He is a great fighter. Let's get that out the way, right?
Like Lucian Rodriguez, like Randall Cobbs.
Let me just say, Tyson Fury's niche.
There were better heavyweights back then.
Tyson Fury's niche as a heavyweight is he's able to greatly outmaneuver the other big men of his era. He moves like a smaller man amongst the big men. That's what he has on these guys.
He mauls the quicker.
Trevor Burbick beats
White. I don't believe he's quicker. I don't believe he's quicker than Ali. Like, don't sell me that one, bro. Don't sell me that one. He don't jab his head. He don't jab his head.
He looks fast. Next to White.
His feet are not as fast as Ali.
He don't move like a gazelle. He moves like a quick elephant.
His feet are not as fast as Ali.
In the car dealership, that thing that you see out the car dealership, that balloon man.
I think he's got fast hands.
6'9".
Did you see those counters he got on Wilder? They were slow compared to like Ali's era. They just were. I'm sorry.
Okay, but who was fast in Ali's era besides him? Joe
Nobody
Frazier
was
wasn't
fast.
But we're comparing him to Ali. We're putting him in a time machine and saying what he's going to get Ali.
Ali
I don't believe that.
What did they say about Ali?
Ali
Guys that fighters today, like a Bernard Hopkins, will tell you that dude was as fast as a fucking middleweight. What are you talking about?
When Ali fought Frazier, when he was getting in the 70s, he slowed down when he was 220.
So what? Even when he slowed down,
give me Cassius Clay. Give me Cassius Clay. The Cassius Clay. The Sports Sunny listing. Give me the Cassius.
Where's your manager? We got somebody.
The problem here. Here's the problem, Joe.
The problem is that Fury ain't the best of all time.
Fury ain't all that. Fury ain't all that. I'm sorry. Like, no, we not.
Here's the deal. The problem is that it doesn't matter who he fights because what you're going to say is, well, that guy's not as good as Muhammad Ali.
Stop protecting him from losing.
Who could he fight that we
protect
would
him from
be like,
Usyk.
oh, well, you know what? Yeah, he beat Muhammad Ali. That person doesn't exist. So what for the rest of the rest of the
It does, Maestro. Can I say something real quick?
Muhammad Ali is the
Can I
best
say something?
part.
Maestro, just 2 weeks ago, you were dissecting Mayweather's career. Mayweather didn't fight this guy, that guy. Oh, he didn't fight this
I
dude.
said that,
Okay,
yeah.
so we got to keep it consistent. He needs to fight Usyk, brother.
Okay.
Come on,
I said that.
My
No,
only
no,
argument
but
is
wait,
every
but wait.
time-
Look,
This is my only problem. Every time we go back and we say, well, what about this fight? What about that fight? Well, he was past his prime. Well, how old was he? So all I'm saying is this: with Tyson
Age
Fury,
isn't the same, brother. What do you mean?
well, okay then. So if it's not the same, then
Some
why-
guys are washed up at an early age because
That's their fault. That's
You
their
could,
fault.
no, it's not their
That's their-
fault.
yes,
Like,
it
the
is their fault.
competition is
Yes, it
tougher.
is their fault.
They'll take
hold
more
on, no.
Yes, it is
punishment.
their
Hold on, look, can I just say,
Like
look,
Floyd didn't
wait.
fight a fucking haggler, dude. He didn't fight a Hearns.
I just want to say, I don't expect nothing. I don't
He didn't fight a
expect.
Duran.
He didn't. I don't expect anything of
Not the
Tyson
best of his
Fury.
era.
I don't expect anything of Tyson Fury that the people they're comparing him to haven't done. What we saw in Larry Holmes, he has the second most title defenses in heavyweight boxing. You gonna compare him to Joe Louis? He has the most title defenses in heavyweight boxing.
No. Accomplishment-wise,
And
no.
I still think he doesn't beat Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis has fewer defenses. I mean, to me, Lennox
But
Lewis.
Lennox Lewis was actually
Finally
undisputed.
agree.
Lennox Lewis was actually undisputed and retired undisputed.
Yes, he was, which is why I've said that to me, the GOAT is Lennox Lewis.
Well, he
by
didn't
the
retire
way.
disputed. He didn't want to fight John Ruiz, but that's a different story. I'm just
Oh yeah,
putting
yeah.
that out there.
I forgot. Yeah, John the Quiet.
Well,
Yeah,
make a case you're being. I don't
yeah.
even notice, but that's,
Yeah. He right.
I think it's too difficult to
Oh,
try to.
He had to vacate the WBA because he wouldn't fight Ruiz.
Yeah, I remember. Quiet
He was
I think it's too
undisputed.
difficult to try to do. Well, he'll beat
That's
this guy.
election
He'll beat
play.
this guy.
D-Style Boxing says,
Just-
thank you so much.
Just go off accomplishments. That's the way I do it
If
when
you
we
go
have
off
a
accomplishments, it's a
past
different
fighter
story.
to a
But if
current fighter.
you ask me if you matched him up with these guys, I think he could beat them. That's
Max
just my
Bear,
opinion.
Max Bear would beat Tyson Fury, bro. Right
think
across
on
from hell, puts him in the fucking hospital. Max Bear.
I think
Man.
that based
Let's
on
ask
the
Micah.
accomplishment-
Micah, is Tyson Fury an all-time great right now?
Yes, definitely, for sure. I would definitely, and if you ever follow my channel, people know who I support, but I definitely have to give credit when it's due. I definitely feel like Tyson Fury is absolutely an all-time great. When you take into consideration his size, his height, the way he moves in the ring, and his style, his feint, the quickness, for him to be that size and that height and move the way he does inside that ring, yes, you definitely have to put him as an all-time great. Now, what you guys were saying, once again, I've only been covering boxing for a shorter period of time, and I'm younger, so I can't go back and forth with you as far as with a Larry Holmes or a Lennox Lewis. That's more research and things I have to look up. But when you're talking about putting in that all-time great discussion, he has to be there at this moment in time. Yes.
Hold
So
on, sir. Can I just ask? Because I like to stay silent. I let you Americans yell and shout and all that. It's all great. I love it. But Michael, I just want to clarify something. You just said there that you have to kind of go back and you'd have to learn about Lennox and these. So if that's the case, and you say that your knowledge is not that encompassing, how can you then claim that he's an all-time great if you don't know who the other all-time greats are? And I'm not.
Well, I know some. Well, I know who some of the all-time greats is. I'm just saying, as far as when you start talking about, just like with your age, it's certain people that you didn't see in the heavyweight, correct? It's certain people that is before your era, right? But you're still talking about it, right? Okay, correct. So what I'm saying is, I've seen certain people, but as far as I'm talking about as far as dealing with this era, still being younger, seeing a Mike Tyson. Yes, I've seen certain people. When you take in consideration his accolades, his accomplishments, what he has done, he did beat Deontay Wilder, one of the most feared, most powerful heavyweights. Okay, so I see you, Maestro. But when you take everything into consideration. Okay, and let's be clear, because I am a Deontay Wilder fan. So what I'm saying is,
who feared him?
when What are you saying? Let me finish. What I'm saying is, when you put everything into consideration, what he's done, regardless if I agree with everything, with his size, him being what, about 6'9", moving in that ring the way
like a gazelle, like a gazelle.
I have never.
Come on.
So
He
far,
got
why
the balloon man at the car dealership.
Beautiful ring.
I've got a simple question.
You guys are trying to out. She's not done, guys.
And also, I've never seen anybody at this point in time, even with his height and size, with his face, the herky jerky movement, the way it is very. That's why I didn't even have to do a prediction video for the Dillian White. I knew that was gonna be. I knew it was gonna be a wrap.
I want to make one statement.
He's like a
I
heavyweight.
just want to make. Let me make
Mora.
one statement. I want to make one statement. Just
And then
one
I got a
statement.
question.
It's going to be brief.
And then
Now,
I got a question.
I already prefaced everything I said, that in terms of an ATG, you got to put him in the ATG list. It's just a question of where. Now, my issue with all of it, it's not if you tell me he's an ATG. No, he has emerged as the premier heavyweight of this era. But when we start getting into that top 10, that Jack Dempsey, Gene Tooney,
We're on the same page. We're on the same page.
That's when I'm like, nah. See, now
My question for the panel.
You're on the money.
I agree with all the rings, but I can't give you Dempsey.
I have a question. I have a very simple question. Is there a better heavyweight fighter since the retirement of Lennox Lewis, who, by the way, retired undefeated? Is there a better fighter than Tyson Fury?
Can I answer that really quick? So that's what I believe.
No, that's my question.
There's what I believe, and it's what's been proven.
Not
because you spoke about Vitaly.
So I'm hearing Vitaly Klitschko.
Maestro, I'm gonna put it to you this way, right? When you ask me that question, if we get away from the facts and we get anecdotal, right? For example, I firmly believe the Corey Saunders that was smashing Vladimir Klitschko, he'll give Fury all type of problems. That man could punch and he had a chin. Smaller fighter, stubby, with a lower center of gravity, and he ain't scared to get hit. So you know what I mean? So this kind of guy, I see a guy like that. I see a guy like Ray Mercer. Like, if we gonna do this fantasy shit, I'll pick Ray. But
that wasn't a fantasy question. I'm literally asking.
Okay, so you mean based on statistics
of his era?
Vitaly.
No. The retirement
Vitaly
of Lennox Lewis as undefeated champion.
Not because Vitaly didn't unify. So if we gonna go based on the stats, we gotta give it to Fury. We gotta give it to Fury.
I think Vitaly beats him.
That's my argument right there in a nutshell. That's it.
Let me just say this. We have no problem saying when Mike Tyson went away, he comes back, he wasn't the same, right? We have no problem saying, when Ray Leonard went away, he came back, he was a little bit off. Or whatever. Ali, when he went away, we have no problem. This guy ballooned up to 400 pounds. He was on coke. He was an alcoholic. He destroyed his body.
Another ESPN special.
What are they laughing at? That's the truth.
Well, again,
is that beef or is that
Wait a minute.
Are we gonna gloss over what Ali sacrificed? Like it's nothing, and then this was like, but he got big.
This guy was literally fucking dead. He was fucking.
He wasn't dead. He was sniffing coke in Dubai with Daniel Kinahan. He was having a good time. And you making it sound like he was in a concentration camp. You making it sound like he was in a concentration camp.
Come on.
Anyone else that abused their body like that, could they ever come back?
Tell him, Ray.
Hey, Babe Ruth was hitting home runs drunk than a motherfucker. Let's cut the cap.
This guy lost 130 pounds, right? And when he came back, he was 70% of himself, and he beats Deontay Wilder.
It's a beautiful story. Look, props to him, right?
Is it wrong? Did anything I say was it false?
I'm not saying it's wrong, but he doesn't get extra credit for it
because he sniffed coke. He's an ATG.
That's his fault, man.
Okay, time out. 1 second. Without the yelling
Mike Tyson, Mike Tyson fans want to blame everything he did to himself.
Give me a second. Hold on.
He did it to himself. He doesn't get credit for it.
That's his fault, man.
Jump in after I ask this. Why is it that any time I have a conversation with a Mike Tyson fanatic, the first thing they say is, well, that wasn't in his prime. Well, when was his prime? His early 20s. Oh, he went away to prison and then came back, and then he wasn't good anymore.
That's his fault, man.
So easy,
Can I say this?
Can I
ask?
The hiatus is okay for Mike Tyson, but the hiatus for Fury
not okay.
Argue for Tyson.
Going to prison is not a
Not
fucking
okay.
hiatus. You going to prison, fam. Like, we gonna compare that to Fury retired. This the wild shit.
Why
I am
does everyone
comparing.
say these guys?
Exactly what I'm doing.
Why does everyone say these guys are never the same, right? And then when Tyson Fury comes back, why can't we say he's never the same?
Oh, poor Fury.
This
He's
isn't even
treated so unfairly.
Can we even
I'm
argue?
gonna do that again. Vladimir Klitschko
wait,
is
wait,
fucking
wait,
rematch,
wait.
but he's the
Ring.
victim.
Let me
You know,
frame
he's
this.
the
Let me
poor
frame this,
guy.
because
even
this is
argue-
where I think we differ.
Can we
This
even
is where I
argue that
think
this
we
isn't
differ.
even a prime Tyson Fury? Can we
Is that
even
why
argue?
he's showing the rolling? Because it was the same.
This is where I think we differ, right?
He's better after the hiatus. That's the difference.
He's better after the hiatus, if we're going to be honest, because he does look like a better fighter now than he did when he fought Clip. And I agree with that.
Hiatus, they became worse. Is that correct?
But yeah, most guys. But let me say this. Let me Let me say this. Let me say this. Let me just
longevity. They don't.
hold on. No, you can't say he has longevity with a recorded two defenses of an alphabet title.
In terms of retaining skills, he has longevity.
He has longevity like Damon Jameson has fucking rigidity. Okay.
Let me just frame what I want to say. All right, when Tyson Fury went away, a lot of people interpreted it differently. Why he went away? It's my understanding you went away at a time when UCAD was grilling you for the Nandrolone.
He was going to get stripped and suspended.
You know. I mean, it's like all the mental health stuff. Always, to me, at least from where I was sitting, seemed like, man, that's not why you going away. You going away because UCAD is all in your shit, and the only way they can't, and the only way they can't. The only way they can't get to you is if you bow out and come back later.
I agree with all that.
Let me say this really quick.
I agree with all that.
Here's what I know. All these fantasy fights don't mean shit because no one's going to be wrong.
They mean zero. They mean zero.
However, there's a 6'3" small heavyweight called Usyk, and I was tuning into Mano a Mano, and shout out to Kenny T. He was preaching on Mano a Mano Live, talking about how he thinks Usyk could beat him, and I was a little bit convinced.
By stoppage, by the way, Kenny said.
Look, all I got to say is this. Show me. Okay?
Can I also make a point?
Show me.
Go ahead, Base. You've been very
with
patient.
regards to what you're saying about retaining skills, now, I totally agree. He actually seems to have bucked the trend of looking like he got better after all of that. However, the difference between him and obviously like a Tyson and an Ali, when they obviously had to, their skills kind of regressed in their periods, but they were fighting like the best of the division. Like he's not fighting the best of the division. He came back against Sefer Safiri and Francesco Pianetta. So if you like
and Deontay Wilder, notice how he skipped over Deontay Wilder.
No,
But you went to Tom Schwartz and didn't mention Deontay.
Wilder wouldn't survive in the 70s.
Wilder was tripping over his own feet with Artur Spilka. He was literally tripping over his own feet with Artur Spilka. All right?
Wilder's probably the second best heavyweight today. He wouldn't survive in the 70s.
The point I was going to make was
it's all subjective.
You can have Wilder in there. You can say, okay, he had like one legit guy or whatever, and then I put Dillian in there. A lot of people won't because they'll say he was trash anyway. Cool, but either way, you're like, say what I'm saying is it's not like he came back and fought the killer's row or murderer's row of the division. He's come back to fight soft touches. So of course his skills are going to look great when you're fighting lesser opponents.
Did anyone on this panel pick him? Wait a minute. Did anyone on this panel pick him to beat Deontay Wilder? Did anyone on this panel pick him to beat Deontay Wilder when he came back?
I actually did.
You called Deontay Wilder a soft touch.
You picked him
before the first fight with Fury.
You picked Tyson Fury to beat Wilder, the first fight.
The first fight, I actually did.
First fight? No.
I don't know anybody.
So what?
I'm going to say...
It's called the revisionist history. That's what's so what.
It's not. They got videos up. They got videos up. Boxing Beats and Rhymes pick Fury. I believe Unrivaled Mark. He also picked Fury to win them shit.
I picked Fury.
But I didn't call it a soft touch though.
I picked Wilder in the third fight, but I picked Fury in the first two.
Listen, Wilder was applesauce. He was applesauce for Fury.
Okay, I get it, man.
That's why I picked him. That's why I picked him.
What would you say he's a soft touch?
I know D-Style didn't think he was a soft touch because D-Style
He not applesauce, and he ain't no soft touch.
Hey, look, I'll be the first one to
D-Style didn't think he was a soft touch.
Let me be more simple with you right now, okay? It's the last thing I'm going to say about this topic.
I'm not saying much right now because I know he wasn't a soft touch.
What do you mean? I'm talking right now. Look, check it out.
I know that.
But check this out. I'm not calling like Wilder's a good fighter for this era. Wilder wouldn't survive in the fucking 70s, brother. He'd be food over there. I'm just telling you that right now.
Look,
he's not skilled enough.
These styles, I just want to say this to D Styles. Wait, I want to say this.
Corey beat him?
I want to say this to D Styles, right? Let me say this. If Harold Sconeers can have him on Quiz Street the way he about to get knocked out, you need to ask yourself if Jerry Cooney could have beat him, because Jerry at least had a left hook. I see you walk into a left hook from Eric Molina with your hands down, chin in the air, and he had you looking crazy.
And B
had Ali on Quiz Street.
You can't just say things are nostalgic. Like, you know what we have right now?
Henry Cooper have Ali on Quiz Street.
Have Muhammad Ali on Quiz Street.
Henry Cooper.
But I'm saying he had Ali on Quiz Street.
Henry Cooper
to be on Henry Cooper.
He got up. He won.
I just imagine that Henry Cooper had Ali on Quiz.
And then he beat Foreman.
But let me say this. Harold Sconeers ain't no motherfucking Henry Cooper, though. That's the difference. Harold Sconeers ain't no motherfucking Henry Cooper. That's what I'm saying.
Fury have no reign.
I'm bringing
Reigns like two
right
title defenses of fucking reign. Get the fuck out of here. Dude never had any reign. He doesn't have reigns. Right?
What would Tyson Fury do to Henry Cooper?
We don't know.
I don't know. He got.
Let me guess. He's strong. He's 6'9" and he's big. So let me just tell you something. That's all you guys got. That he's big. That's all you got. Or he moves fast for his size. You have to add for his size. But in a fight, fast is fast and slow is slow. Motherfuckers, him and Wilder look slow as fuck compared to some of these all-time greats in that fight. Okay? And the skill level was very diminished. Smooth diminishing, Nando. Let me tell you something. I'm a smooth motherfucker. This is smooth diminishing. I'm just telling you the facts. Ali being a great is not. It is not nostalgia. It's just a fact. The dude was a motherfucking great. That's why you're wearing his fucking t-shirt right now. That's why you're still talking about him. He's. If it was nostalgia, people would have forgotten about him.
Why are you talking about
Ali? Ali was the greatest because he refused to engage in genocide.
Well, Tyson Fury just fought. Like, what do you mean?
And because
ain't nobody gonna be talking about Fury in 20 years, brother. Nobody.
Yes, they will.
Nah, they not.
Yeah, they will.
Not if he duck Usyk.
They said my dad said that. My dad said the same thing about Larry Holmes, and here we are, 20 years later, talking about Larry Holmes.
People don't talk about Larry Holmes like that. Look, you were just smooth diminishing him earlier.
Larry Holmes is vexed.
You guys diminish Larry Holmes, one of the best fucking champs of all time, because you want to pump up Fury.
Larry Holmes fought in a transitional. Larry Holmes.
You want to talk smooth diminishing?
Larry
Holmes fought in a traditional heavyweight era, and he fought in a very
heavyweights were better back then. It was a more popular sport.
The 70s was the weakest. The 70s was
the former football players.
The 80s and late 70s was a very weak.
What was the name of that dude that Ariola knocked out? Like that dude made it in the top 10 shit. That's heavyweight division today.
Give me Larry Holmes
would agree with Joe Habib.
Larry Holmes,
man, I hope Ngannou knock out your dude. That's what I hope. I hope he knock him out. He won't.
Give me Larry Holmes' best win right now.
Fight Usyk. You guys want to tell all these? You don't want to tell about the Usyk fight.
Can I say this? Can I say this? Is it too much to ask? Is it too much to ask that he wait till the end of the summer? That he wait till the look. This is all I want. This is all I want. Wait till the end of the summer, right? Joshua and Usyk gonna fight in the summer. Wait till the end of the summer. Wait till the end of the summer. Stick around for the winner. That's all I want.
You want to know what?
This is And
Larry Holmes'
this is
best win?
reverse nostalgia is what's going on right
What's
now.
Larry Holmes'
We
best
have
win?
dudes that everything in the present is better than the past. Okay, that's reverse nostalgia.
What is Larry Holmes' best
I
win?
need the top three. I need the top three. I need the top three Larry Holmes wins. I need the top three Larry Holmes wins. 5, 4, 3,
reverse
2,
nostalgia,
1.
baby. Let's go.
Ali.
He can't do it.
Trevor Burbick, like he has some decent wins. Like, let's not like if it's a serious. Still, listen. Yo, wait a minute, wait. Maestro.
Trevor Burbick,
One at a time. You can't. You know why you can't say that? Because Fury best win is an old Klitschko, so you can't play that game. You can't play that game.
It wasn't
the
a
old
Klitschko.
Klitschko. You can't play that game.
It wasn't a Klitschko.
Yo, how old was Ali? How old was? Yo, no, wait a minute. How old was Ali? How old was Ali?
No, Snipes was a good win for Holmes too. He was undefeated at the time he beat him. That's a good win too.
No, hold on. Let me say. I just got a question. Wait.
Anyways, that question wasn't for you. It was for D-Style, but I'm glad you saved D-Style by throwing out some names.
I already said Burbick earlier. What you tell me? Wait, I did mention that.
Yo tengo una fucking pregunta. Esta es la pregunta, okay? Esta es la pregunta. If we're gonna say that Ali was old when Larry Holmes fought him,
Cooney beats most of these heavyweights.
One at a time. If Ali was old when Holmes fought him, how old was Klitschko when Fury fought him?
The difference is Klitschko had been knocked out by Brewster. They had been knocked out by Corey Sanders. But his team.
All I did was ask who was older. That's all I did.
His team, yeah, I know, but there's age and then there's also mileage.
So now we're using nuance now about age, right? Now nuance matters when it comes to age all of a sudden.
Can I answer the question?
I'm glad we're putting it in context.
Beam is the young 50.
Now there's nuance.
No.
Nuance comes in. By the way, Cooney fucks up White, by the way.
Yo, this is chaos. We gotta leave this subject, man. We gotta leave this subject.
Like answer the question, and then we could move on.
Yeah,
There was no trilogy. There was no.
There was a control.
I'm not done. There was no Thriller in Manila with Klitschko. There was no Rumble in the Jungle. There was no spitting up blood. There was no almost not being able to leave his corner.
Thank you, Maestro.
Team begging the fighter to end his career. All of that happened with Ali before the loss.
So therefore, let's stop talking about how he's 33, and so was Holmes, and all the other dumb shit.
All I know is Larry Holmes lost to a light heavyweight who made his first.
You can't do that. That was controversial.
He won that fight.
Michael Spinks won the first fight, but Holmes won the second.
You know they didn't like Larry. You know they was looking to steal.
Michael Spinks won the first one.
Can we move on? It's like 2 fights on Saturday. Can we move on?
All right.
Now these Fury fans want to prove that they're right. Like they want to prove that Fury's the dude. About that?
These styles in the nostalgia cloud right now. Let's go.
This is reverse nostalgia. What's going on nowadays, ladies and gentlemen?
Bob Cousy, the greatest NBA player of all time.
Big fight. Oscar Valdez.
Cooney gets fear problem, just like
all right.
Nice.
All right. Oscar Valdez, Shakur Stevenson. I can't find anyone picking Valdez here. Is this gonna be a good fight? Does Valdez have a shot here, or is Stevenson just gonna blow by this guy? Let's go around the panel here. Let's start with you, Micah. Do you think this fight's even going to be competitive?
Yeah, I think the fight is going to be competitive, but it just depends on what type of Valdez we see. We know from the last fight, it wasn't as impressive. The critics was on Valdez. We was expecting more from Valdez, and Shakur's skill set, is of the elite. Matter of fact, on my prediction video, I know it's early. We have to wait and see. I have Shakur. If he continues on this, scale, striving for greatness and stuff like that, he could possibly go down now, I believe, as one of the all-time great boxers. What I see just based on the eye test from right now. So yeah, I definitely have Shakur winning and dominating this fight. But I also feel like, go ahead. Somebody had their hand up, or
Did someone want to say something?
oh, I thought
Yeah,
you
yeah,
were.
yeah.
It's your run.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought I seen something. Now, yeah. So I think it's still going to, because one thing I can say about Valdez, though, he's a very strong-willed, he's a determined fighter. He definitely going to go toe-to-toe with you, and he has a lot of heart. So he going to try to give it his best. It's just that when you coming up against somebody with that elite of a skill set, it's going to be hard to take them down. And somebody that has that type of defense.
Okay. Dave, can Valdez pull up the upset here, or is this going to be a one-sided match, man?
It may end up being one-sided, but he absolutely can pull off the upset. I know we're here on the panel with G Funky predicted. Most of us got it wrong when he fought when G Funky got it correct last time, right?
Burchell, yeah.
Versus Burchell, thank you. But against Robson Constantiao, a decorated Olympic gold medalist, he looked poor. So I do expect Shakur Stevenson to shine again. It was very impressive what he did against Herring. And I think that these kind of matchups are all wrong for Valdez. Valdez looks spectacular against those kind of come forward fighters. The true boxer of the two is going to be not Oscar Valdez, but Shakur Stevenson. But Oscar Valdez can box too. He can box, just he's probably not on the same level skill set wise as the young Shakur Stevenson. But when it comes to fighters, that's all Oscar Valdez. This is a guy who fought with a broken jaw. I mean, this is a guy that is unrelentless. What I'm worried about, though, honestly, is actually Shakur Stevenson might have enough power to hurt Oscar Valdez because I did watch Oscar Valdez in person when he took on a late replacement in Adam Blue Nose Lopez. And Adam Blue Nose Lopez caught him with a clean shot and dropped him and made him taste the canvas professionally. And this is a guy coming up from 126. So it's entirely conceivable. We could even see a stoppage by Shakur Stevenson, but let's not count Oscar Valdez out, man. This guy is a true warrior, a true Mexican warrior, and he's greatly improved under Eddie Reynoso. Beeb, thank you so much for having me. I have to bow out early. I'm on an early flight to Las Vegas,
right, brother.
So I just want to drop my link to my channel, The Shoe Shine. I'll be going live right after the Valdez fight and trying to get some live reactions and fighter interviews. So make sure you check my channel out Saturday night, guys. Thanks a lot.
Hey, have a great time over there, Dave.
Yeah, you guys, I'll keep in touch, man. Everyone have a great show.
Stay safe.
Peace out.
All right. G, you called it last time, right? What do you think? Can he do it again?
Look, I think, nothing is a guarantee in boxing. If I could quote Larry Merchant of HBO, and I don't quote him very often, but boxing is the theater of the unexpected. We just never know. I think Shakur is the favorite for good reasons, and I am picking him to win this fight by decision. But I think that people are definitely they look at Valdez and they think he's just a brawler. And you're 100% incorrect when you say that. This kid can box. I mean, let's just go back a few fights when he fought Burchell. He boxed to that knockout. He didn't stand toe-to-toe with the guy. He set up all those shots by boxing from the outside. Even switched southpaw in that match. So he shows you he can box. Now, in my prediction video I did on my channel, I showed him against a southpaw, using great footwork, getting lead side angles to attack a southpaw. So he definitely has an understanding of how to do it. It's just doing it. And I think that the problem is Shakur is just too fast with his hands and too fast with his feet. And I think that's going to be the difference here in this fight. But he definitely does have a chance to win this fight. And like the Queen said below me, Valdez is a dog. We've seen him go down and get up and knock guys out. We've seen him win fights with a broken jaw, fight several rounds with a broken jaw. So we can't rule him out, man. He's definitely a live dog here. And I definitely think he can pull an upset, but I'm still sticking with my pick. I'm going to pick Shakur Stevenson to win by decision.
Okay. Base, what do you think of this matchup? Is Oscar live, or is this going to be a one-sided affair for Shakur Stevenson?
You know what's weird about this fight? If this fight happened during the pandemic with no one in the crowd, I'd be giving Oscar a lot more chance. because he seems to actually box when he hasn't got the roar of the crowd in his ear, sort of willing him on to impress the fans. Like the Pachot fight, you saw the level of IQ he displayed in that fight, but in the majority of his other fights, when there's people there and he's trying to come forward because he's got a marquee value, he's trying to protect and whatnot and play into the crowd, he gets a bit more wild, reckless and pressury, but then it's almost like Bull and Matador settings, which is why I've never watched the whole Conceição fight just because of the whole, the allegations with I thought it was disgusting it stayed on, so I've never watched the whole thing. But from what I've seen of it, it was pretty much a case of him almost trying to overcompensate because of what had been going on before, just totally out of pocket. And that is going to be like kryptonite, his kryptonite for someone like Shakur Stevenson. Like I said, too fast, too smart. He's not going to worry about whether the crowd were booing or not. He's going to get in. He's going to get his work off. He's going to get out safely. He's going to see almost everything coming. And just because Valdez is going to try and be pressing action, I see him getting stopped around sort of late, round 10, round 11. Whether it's a knockdown or whether it's the referee just jumping in saying, you've had too much. There's no point carrying on. Yeah, that's kind of how I see the fight going.
Gotcha. Ring. Any chance of an upset here?
I mean, just not from where I'm sitting. I saw the Robson Conceição fight in full. I believe this is going to be an even worse version of that fight for Shakur. A stick and move outside fighter. Shakur is a southpaw. He's much faster than Robson Conceição. He's more responsible, and he knows how to win rounds doing enough. See, Robson, he gave away those last couple of rounds. You're moving around too much, not punching enough. Shakur is a much, much, much better pure boxer than Robson Conceição, and he has the kind of speed that Robson doesn't have. You know what I mean? So it's to me, I don't see it being very competitive, to be honest. I think it's Shakur. It's Shakur's fight to win, and it's Shakur's fight to lose because he has a style that doesn't do Oscar's style any favors. Oscar is a good boxer if you're the man coming forward, but if he has to pursue you, Shakur's going to walk you into punches. He's going to walk you into counter shots. He's big enough and long enough that he can do that safely from the outside and fast enough. So, if anything, Oscar might get stopped. If anything, he might get stopped.
Yeah. D-Style, how's it going to go, this fight?
Well, he ain't going to stop Valdez. Let me tell you something. Dude stops Herring, all of a sudden he's going to stop everybody. You know what I mean? It was just 2-3 fights ago that Herring pretty much quit in a fucking fight. Okay?
Whoa!
No, I'm just saying.
Whoa!
All right? Let me just call it for what it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Language.
And I mean, I know he's a Marine. I have all the respect in the world for him, but let me tell you something. All right? Look, granted, look, I knew Valdez was going to beat up Herring. Okay? To me, like the odds makers knew it. He was a 10-1 underdog. He was going to beat up Herring. Yeah, Shakur. But what I'm saying is, okay, is this: he didn't stop Joey Gonzalez. There was a lot of beef right there, right, or whatever, right? And people like to, he didn't stop him because he was dating the sister. He didn't want to beat up the cuñado. They're like, no, baby. They're like, the reality, he couldn't fuck with the dude.
Don't bring the TMZ stuff into this.
Okay, like he couldn't, like when he feels somebody, like when he feels somebody with power in front of him, he just acts different. He didn't respect Herring. He didn't respect his power, I should say. He respects him as a person, but he didn't respect his power. He didn't have anything to keep Valdez, Shakur off of him. Not only that, he was looking for the perfect shot the whole night. Well, good luck with that one. It's never going to arrive. But Money Mayweather Light, as I call him, okay, is going to have a harder time with Valdez than Mayweather did against Jesus Chavez, okay? So what I'm saying is it's going to be a competitive fight that I believe Shakur will win. But it's going to be a competitive fight. He ain't stopping. And I'll eat my crow if I'm wrong, but he ain't going to stop Valdez.
So you'll be shocked if
he ain't stopping Valdez. I hear people say, they're going to stop it in the corner.
He's going
to make Valdez quick.
Valdez lunges in. What if Valdez lunges in when a left hook and Shakur steps back and rocks him with a straight left?
Out of desperation, because, see, the way I see that Oscar could be stopped is what you just described. If we're in the later rounds and you're behind, you're way behind.
Desperation. Lunging.
You lunge in, you catch the wrong counter shot. Look, Adam Lopez dropped Oscar Valdez. If Adam Lopez could drop him, I don't think it's far.
I hear you. I hear you, but sometimes
that's a triangle theory.
Like, but let me say
it's
this.
not a triangle theory. I'm just saying he had enough power to put him down.
Whoa. I don't yield my time. Thank you. So anyway, here's the thing. Yes, circumstantial things happen in a boxing fight, right? Like unlikely things happen all the time. If he fought Adam Lopez again, Adam Lopez is not going to drop him again, right? Just like people mentioned Cooper dropped Ali. Yeah, that was just that was hold on. That was I know that when I speak, you know, it gets like people that's a good point. I want to chime in. I know you want to chime in, but
against either, by the way, Fury wouldn't get dropped.
Let me finish my. I'm going to go to you right after my show.
Hey, Fury fought Wilder 3 times, and he did get knocked down in the 3rd fight. I'm just saying you can't use that.
Let him go, Let him finish. I'm sorry, D-Star. Go ahead, man.
Well, we need the moderator to step up a bit. What's going on?
I'm doing it right now.
But anyway, I can't blame the other. I got to blame the moderator. You know what I mean?
I'm giving you a lifeline.
I'm about to finish. But check this out. Unlikely things like Ali getting dropped by Cooper, those type of things happen. But guess what? It didn't mean that like listen to drop him. Now, granted, I'm not comparing to Ali, but what I'm saying is is that I just don't think Shakur is that dude that's going to hurt guys. Okay, what Shakur is, he's a clone of Money Mayweather. Okay, and he's not as good. That's what he is. Okay, that's what he is. He fights like a Money Mayweather. All right, not Pretty Boy Floyd. Now he fights like Money May, and he's not as good. Okay, he stopped Herring. Whoopie-doo. Like people were too high on Herring because he beat up an undersized fucking dude in his Frampton and shit. Yeah, like all of a sudden, he's in the mix, and I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Have you not seen Herring fight? Like, all you got to do, a top level fighter needs to come in shape against Herring because the dude's in
very
shape.
dismissive of people today, man.
Well, I was dismissive and I was right?
You are being condescending.
But I was right about it, right? I told you about this really do shit and have this power. Like, Herring. And by the way, you were right, by the way. Like, Herring is going to give him all types of problems. No, he's not. He ain't going to do shit. All I'm saying is that it's going to be competitive, and I think Shakur wins a close fight. That's how I see it.
Why are you insulting Herring so much, man? What did he ever do to you?
Because I think people are like, just because he stopped Herring, all of a sudden the dude's like a finisher. Like, he's not.
I mean, Shakur already kind of said he's not gonna fight the way he fought Herring. So I don't expect him to be that aggressive in this one. He doesn't have to be. If he can use his legs,
he's gonna fight the way he fought Hoyt. He's gonna fight. He's gonna fight the way he fought Hoyt. Hoyt caught him a few times against the rope to show about this.
I think he's gonna run into the sneaky left counter, and he's gonna go on Queer Street. That's what the think.
And by the way, I also have a stoppage. I also have a possible. I didn't say stoppage. Like sometimes I just completely feel it, but I believe this is possible.
10th round stoppage. That's a Beeps pick.
Championship rounds. I do believe it could possibly. You're gonna see.
He's gonna run into something.
You're gonna see some dog. You're gonna see some other juice.
I mean, he might get cut, and they'll stop it on him. Not like with Fury with Wallen, but they might stop it then.
Can I just say something? I don't want it to sound like. I don't want it to sound like I'm shitting on Valdez because I like watching his fights. I actually like Valdez, but I'm just saying that I could see a situation to where you're so far behind, you're down so many rounds, you may become desperate and start making mistakes. And this kid's fast enough that he could hit you with a punch you don't see.
There you go, Ring.
Those are the ones that take you out. Now,
win 4 rounds.
I brought up Adam Lopez just to make a point. Adam Lopez is not a characteristically big puncher because I just saw him with Isaac Dogbay. And Isaac was all in his shit in that fight. It was an even fight, an even effort, but you couldn't really stop Isaac or nothing like that the way I saw Navarrete stop Isaac. Yet you had enough power to drop Valdez. No. So I know Shakur's not a big puncher, but do I think he got enough power that he could drop him? Yeah, maybe. If he walk him into something, maybe. I got Shakur winning on points. That's my prediction. Yeah. But I don't rule out. Yeah, maybe if things get desperate towards the end, maybe he stops it. He stops him. You never know.
Shakur's going to win a 12-round board decision, ladies and gentlemen.
Is Valdez live here? Can Stevenson get the stoppage?
Well, the stoppage proposition is a difficult one, and I'll tell you why. I mean, look, Toka Khan Clary went the distance, right? Nakatilia went the distance. The difference with those guys, though, is at a certain point, honestly, they really stopped trying to win. And I don't think Valdez is going to stop trying to win. In fact, I kind of agree with Ring. In fact, I do agree with Ring. If he's down, which I think he will be, and if he's still trying to win, which I think he will try to win, he's going to have to take risks. He's going to have to honestly get a little reckless, take 2 or 3 to land 1. And in those circumstances, I can see Shakur clipping him with something or stunning him and then maybe stopping him against the ropes with a barrage of punches. I can potentially see that. But I think if I had to guess gun to head, I would go with the unanimous decision victory. I mean, I don't want to put too much
Shaver's knocking out
into Joet Gonzalez, because at the end of the day, Navarrete also went the distance with Joet Gonzalez.
That's true.
Right? Joet Gonzalez is a tough dude. What I do find interesting, though, is this. What's up with censoring Oscar Valdez in these press conferences?
It tells you the promotions behind.
I mean, they were allowing him the Shakur, by the way, to go at Valdez over the doping allegation. By the way, I watched a documentary. He does seem like he was a little bit, let's just say naive, not too fully aware of everything that he was doing. He legitimately seemed like, I wasn't trying to take a drug or whatever to cheat. Having seen him, I think it's hard to not believe what he was saying, honestly. But they allow Valdez to essentially have to deal with that criticism. And then the minute he brings up the very legit criticism of Shakur laying hands on a woman, apparently that's not up for discussion. Like, what's up with that?
That tells you
I mean, I'm for free speech. If he wants to say anything at a press conference, let him go. Don't edit it out.
No, maybe, but again, that's not to do with boxing in the ring, whereas the drug possible cheating is to do with boxing in the ring. So maybe that's why they said
the thing is, mentally, they're already establishing as part of the promotion, this is who we're riding with. The chips are on this side.
Yeah, if they're playing like Fury talking about other men's penises, they can allow this, right?
Whoa! We got a female on this. We got a female here. We can't be dropping the P word.
I'm just that's what Fury does.
I just want to say, can I say, look, there was a lot of opportunism when it comes to Oscar Valdez's case in this era of knee-jerk reactions. It's not even that I'm defending him. It's that when you actually review the actual case, look, the commission adheres to WADA, not VADA. The substance found in his system was on VADA's list, but not WADA's. Thus, the commission adheres to WADA. People blew this out of proportion because he's a Reynoso fighter. That's the only reason we're doing this.
Don't want to do the research.
It was virtual signaling 101.
It's laziness, bro. Like
exactly, it was Pico level. It was like
levels in the system, dog.
And I'm not trying to defend him. I just don't like stupid shit. So when I see stupid shit, I'm like, yo, dog. The commissions adhere to WADA, not VADA. WADA, yes, there's a difference. And on WADA's banned list, the substance was not there, but y'all still calling him a cheater because it's convenient, it's cheap. This is the era of petty, where people like to do petty ass shit. It ain't even liking Oscars. Just don't be fucking stupid, man.
That's fair, but let's not forget he's supposed to be adhering to the team boxing program, which is a VADA program at that time because he's a WBC champion. So I'm not saying he was cheating, he wasn't, but he should have never been allowed to fight based on the WBC's only rules at that time.
Now, Base, this is my retort. This is my retort. This is my retort. I think he should have been stripped of the title, but still allowed to fight. The fight is under the auspices of that commission. But as far as the WBC, y'all should have stripped him because according to your bylaws, he's in violation. So strip him, but let him fight.
But I understand the perspective of it. Like in other words, if USADA was looking over this fight, it would be a non-story.
Correct.
That's it. Then that's what nobody wants to accept or understand. Correct. Olympic athletes could use this shit, and it would be allowed.
Yeah.
It's
And I get crucified for saying this, and I said this before the fight.
No,
I
you
said,
don't. You're
all's
like
this-
Jesus Christ. Come down.
All's this thing. I got crucified, man. Don't minimize my crucifixion. So all I said was this drug was a very strong appetite suppressant. And I said, if anything, it's going to make him perform worse because he's already depleting himself, training hard, trying to make weight. And if he's going to suppress his appetite and not eat to replenish himself and get those nutrients back in his system, then it's only going to make him perform worse. And I'm not trying to say like I had a crystal ball, but he did perform worse.
Well, Joe, here's my thing with that, Joe. He may have performed worse, but he still made weight.
And he had an unfair advantage to make the weight.
Yeah, he made the weight, and had he not made the weight, he wouldn't still have his title, and there wouldn't be a unification fight.
I agree.
And they'd be saying he's ducking.
I agree. But I got in the debate. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. I got in a debate with Breadman, the trainer Breadman, right? Breadman Edwards. He's trying to tell me that this was going to make him Superman. And I'm saying, listen, all of these drugs are not created equal. A lot of these drugs are on the banned substance list because they're dangerous.
Yes, sir.
This is a dangerous drug for a lean athlete to take.
What I wanted to say, though, getting back to the tactics and the matchup itself, I thought Robson beat him.
You can argue that.
And honestly, I think Shakur is a better boxer than Robson.
Yeah.
And, I
That's
think
nostalgia.
Different fighters.
I think that when you're looking at it, right, in the grand scheme of things,
Do you think the silver medalist is better than the gold medalist?
when push comes to shove, he said it himself. When he gets hit by a punch, he does everything he can not to get hit by that punch again. He has been so defensive first that Tim Bradley, who we all know, by the way, has only ever boxed in the most exciting fights of all times and has never been defensive and has only been attacked forward, according to Tim Bradley, was very critical of Shakur. If early on Valdez does anything that's going to be disruptive, that's going to a punch lands, we're going to see a defensive Shakur Stevenson boxing on his toes and winning a stinking decision of 12 rounds. Any way I look at it, it's the Shakur win.
Well, can I say this? That's why the other fight and the other card actually has my undivided attention, because I settled my mind on this a long time ago, whereas Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano is a true blue 50-50 fight. Yeah. Either one has a credible argument to win a fight, whereas with Shakur, we already saw this on a lower level with Oscar, with Robson Conceição. Robson is a pure boxer. So with Shakur, he's just a better pure boxer. And at minimum, I have him winning the decision. If you want to put on a show, yeah, maybe he can set it up to where he gets a referee stoppage. Maybe. But I don't really view that as a fight where many dramatic things are going to happen. Aesthetically, if I'm being honest with you, looking at a fight for entertainment value, Jesse Vargas versus Liam Smith might turn out to be more of a barn burner than that fight. Because
solid card, isn't it, Ring? That's a whole solid card, isn't it?
That's just the whole card is nuts. And I'm like, look.
Yeah, I don't think Base gave his prediction yet.
Yes, he did.
Shit, I did. I wanted to make one point. I just want to make one point with regards to Shakur Stevenson. Like, one thing I feel like we're forgetting, obviously we're saying like he's not like the biggest of punchers or whatnot. That's very true. But having said that, he is still growing. Like, he wasn't stopping a lot of guys like at 126. But 130 looks to be a lot stronger. He looks like he's coming into that sort of man body, and that power looks like it's developing. So I think this could be one of those times where it's progressing now, and he's gonna start getting a bit more solid, and because he's filling out.
Look, Scott Quigg is not the biggest of punches, and he broke Oscar's jaw. Adam Lopez is not the biggest of punches, but he dropped him.
I think as Shakur advances in his career, he's going to surprise a lot of people.
I think he's coming into his power. I think a lot of people were critical of him.
Shots now. Yeah, he's sitting down on shots.
I think they were critical of him because of, like, look, people wanted to be critical of him for no fucking reason. Like, I seen a skinny little fucking kid at 126. Of course he's not going to have fucking power, but he's getting bigger. He's coming into his body, growing into his body. He's supremely confident. If he's not, I don't think he's ever going to be, the according to Hoyle knockout puncher. But I do think, yeah, yo, the dude hit. You know, he can fucking hit. Like, if the opportunity's there, he'll take a couple of guys out. Who I don't see developing into a puncher of any kind is Devin Haney. That's a different conversation.
Yes.
But Shakur, he's got it. I see it. He's got it.
He's
See
turning the
more
shots
improvements
over.
under
Devin Haney's
Shakur
not,
than
like, turning
Devin
them over
this
yet.
far.
All right, we got another big one this weekend, and this is getting a lot of attention, a lot of press. My only question is, when you have two fighters that are on this level, sometimes it becomes a chess match, right?
Mm.
And I'm concerned, and I'm just going to ask this question to all the panel. Will this fight actually live up to the hype, and will this be the biggest female fight in history? And who's going to win this one? I'm going to start with you, Micah.
So for me, I really had to think about this one for a minute, because it depends on, like, when I did my prediction video and I looked back and looked at Katie Taylor. First, let me start off by this. I did because we know boxing is very unpredictable. This is one of them fights. It depends on what type of, Katie Taylor, to me, that we're going to see. I want to see if Katie Taylor is going to utilize the jab more. I know in watching some of her film, she doesn't utilize the jab as much. To me, sometimes even with her strategy, it can be very repetitive. And one thing that I do love about Amanda Serrano, I love her technique. I love her skill set, the way she does certain things. So I definitely gave Amanda the slight edge in this fight. Now, I think I forgot who said it or whatever, but I definitely could see in some ways this fight going either way, depending on how it goes. I gotta see, like, the feel for the first few rounds. But overall, in my opinion, I definitely like Amanda the most. So I'm gonna go as far as the biggest for me. That's definitely opinion. We have to see the fight. We have to let it play out. For me, I'm a big Clarissa Shields fan. I feel like that with Savannah Marshall is going to be my biggest. Okay, especially because of the tension, especially because to me she is the GOAT because of what she done, what she did, what she accomplished. Okay, as a woman boxer. So that's what I have for right now.
Gotcha. Ring. Could this turn out to be a chess match, and maybe, I hate to say this, an uneventful fight, or could this be a war?
Nah, I mean,
Maybe a little of both.
Shakur Stevenson versus Valdez, to me, has more probability of being a stinker than Taylor versus Serrano, because Serrano is an action fighter through and through. It don't matter which fight you're watching, it's always an action fight. Katie Taylor has a tendency to make her job harder than it has to be by playing to the crowd and getting drawn out into wars. So as far as the probability of it being a snoozer, nah, I really don't see that. Like, if it ends up being that, I'll be surprised, because I don't see that. But what I do see is, look, I don't want to knock Amanda. The quality of competition is what it is. I think she's an excellent boxer, but the appeal of the fight for me is now we're going to see you against someone on a level, because for the longest time, those are not the kind of people you've been fighting. So everything we see is based on your level of competition, which is not great. You can do that to them. They don't fight on the balls of their feet. They're standing on their whole foot. They're there to be hit. Miriam Gutierrez, like, come on, she ain't no Katie Taylor. You hit her with the kitchen sink. You couldn't stop her. You couldn't drop her. But I saw Katie Taylor hit her with a punch she didn't see and put her on the canvas. These are the things that make the fight attractive. They're like, you know what? This has more of an air spontaneity than these fights. We're either going to find out that Amanda is as good as she's advertised, or you're not, and it was really who you were fighting that made you look that way. Because we watch boxing, we know, depending on the level of competition, you could look like Sugar Ray Leonard, depending on the level of competition. Now we're going to see what you're really made of, and that's what makes the fight attractive.
I mean,
And
Fury being quiet, he's an all-time great. You're right.
And I just wanted to make one other point. I feel like the power factor is going to be, key. Amanda Serrano having that power in both hands. Will it transfer over to this Katie Taylor fight? Will Katie Taylor be able to take Amanda's power? And if she can, then we're going to see who's going to make the necessary key adjustments through, who's going to make those key adjustments throughout the fight. And I'm looking as for right now, the slight edge. Amanda making those necessary adjustments. But once again, like Ring IQ said as well, with the competition level, now we're going to see truly is, we know Amanda is the one, but is she that one? Because she got to knock off another great in Katie Taylor.
I just want to add one more thing. For me, right, I don't think power is an issue. I believe Amanda has enough power to pretty much hurt whoever she fights. It's not does she have power, it's can you land? You have enough power that you made Gutierrez look like an avatar. So you have power. But in here, I don't think you got Jessica McCaskill power. I don't think you got Delphine Pursoon power, because I've seen you with a super bantam-weighted feather. You didn't stop her. I seen you with an immobile target at 135. You beat her up real nice, but you didn't stop her. This is the same woman. Same woman.
Can pop too. Jonas can pop
Well,
too.
Jonas.
for me-
I just want to add this, and I'll pass it back. Natasha Jonas just went up to the junior middleweight division. Katie Taylor fought her last year. You never would have known Natasha can punch like that based on that fight. But you see her with someone else. If she lands clean, she'll take you out. So to me, it's not even, does Amanda have power? No, she's got enough power. I think Tasha Jonas is a bigger puncher by far, but it's not even whether or not you have power. It's can you land? Because if you can't land, your power don't matter.
Well, what I'm saying is, let me say one last point. What I'm saying, the key is, will Katie Taylor, judging off certain things that I've seen with Katie Taylor, is she going to be able to take Amanda's power and still be able to unload? What I see from Katie is she's very predictable. All she does is unload and unleash those combos. I don't see any other strategic game plan. So I know you saying, I'm not saying I'm saying that power is going to be significant. Can Katie take Amanda Serrano's power throughout those rounds? I feel like Amanda is going to break Katie down, and at the end, that is when Amanda is going to win that fight due to her skill set, due to Amanda's overall technique and skill set and strategy. She's more of a calculated pressure fighter than Katie Taylor, in my opinion.
Last thing I'll say, because I know everybody has
I got lots to say.
All right,
Base is chomping at the bit. He can go next. We'll let you go, Base. Don't worry.
All I'm saying is, over the years, it's crazy because Katie debuted in 2016. Amanda debuted in 2009. I've seen Katie with more power punches than I've seen Amanda. I'm wondering if the target is moving, will you still be the same Amanda? Because I've seen her with southpaws. I've seen her with power punches. I've seen her with volume punches. I have never seen you fight someone like this. I've never seen that. And you've been around long, which, once again, that's what makes the fight attractive.
It's intriguing. Go ahead, Base.
Julius, I hate you. You took my point.
You hate me, man. I ain't say
what I was actually going to say was exactly what you were saying with regards to Natasha Jonas. Like, I think pound for pound, Natasha's probably one of the hardest hitters in the women's division. And I definitely think she hits harder than Amanda Serrano. Yet even though she won a lot of good rounds against Katie, and it's, you could make an argument of how that fight went. Katie was never a stationary target to the point where Jonas could properly unload her power shots on her. And the shots she did take, she ate them. She didn't necessarily wobble. She didn't drop. You didn't get her down. So when I look at sort of that part of it, I say, okay, Katie Taylor's been in there with the better quality of opposition. She's been in there with bigger girls like Christina Leonardo too, for instance, like a much bigger girl than when Amanda Serrano went up to 140. So you've got that. She's been in there with the mobile fighters. She's been in there with the good the combination punches and the good movers, and she's always found a way to get through all of them. It's not literally just combinations in and out. I think the whole sort of sticking her feet and planting her feet and sort of trading came from the Pursoon fights, because Pursoon doesn't let you, implement a game plan and stick a move. She just on you 24/7. So and Katie has proved that she can handle that kind of pressure. Now, Amanda doesn't have that kind of work rate. And when you say that Amanda's like she's got her skill set, like she'll pressure her and break her down, I can't see it as much because again, she's never really fought anyone with the skill set of Katie Taylor. Now, people might say Katie's had slippage over the last couple of years, which might very well be true, but she's already would have been levels above like Amanda in terms of skill set anyway. So if it now just brings her down to that particular level, but she's still got the experience of being on the big stage, whereas Serrano hasn't got those same experiences. That's what I feel like Katie gets the decision just by being able to do enough to win.
Gotcha. I just want right. So you picking Katie because I wanted to know because I'm picking Amanda because I might have to pop. I don't know if I'm gonna come in. I just want to see because it might be some crow. Okay, because I'm just making you saying Katie. I just wanted to see what ring IQ. Did he say Katie or Amanda?
Oh no, I'm saying, look, this is my stance, right? Because there's a question mark, and this is why I'm not shitting on Amanda. This is why I'm just giving you the questions that make me want to see it. I have Katie because the argument is stronger. She cuts angles better. She feints. You don't, Amanda, like I've watched most of Amanda's career. She never came up against nobody like this. Like I think Amanda has a great style that's pleasing to the eye. It's very textbook. It's a good jab. But when you got somebody that's not going to be there for you to touch them with the jab, like Amanda's not just a pressure fighter. She's a boxer puncher that applies pressure. She got to touch you with the jab and everything else will follow. So what happens if the jab don't touch the person? Do we see a situation where you become tentative, where you're not as confident? Because Amanda's body attack ain't like Floyd's, to where she shoots a stab to the body. That's not what she does. She got to get close to you, and then she'll hook off to the body. If she can't get close to you, it ain't gonna go down.
Oh, so, she definitely gonna touch up Katie. Watch and see. We'll see though. We'll see. And Katie definitely got to use her jab. She must use her.
It's a great fight. It's a great fight.
This is one because I see what you guys can do and the experience.
So FYI, moderator, I want to talk about it too.
The experience.
You know what I mean? Like
just for that, we're gonna go to Maestro since you want to be wise ass. Go ahead, Maestro.
Yeah, well, look, I think a lot of what I was going to say to Base's point was said. It's been said by Base. It's been said by Ring IQ. I'm going to be honest. I think Katie Taylor is going to win this fight, and I don't even really think it's going to be that close. Personally, that may be a hot take, but Katie Taylor is fighting someone who's moving up in weight. She's fighting someone who has not gotten KOs against much lesser opposition in her last two fights. And she's fighting someone who I don't know whether or not the power is really, actually, I don't think it's going to trouble Katie Taylor at 135. I just don't. I mean, to Ring's point, you know, she's already fought hard-hitting people. She's already fought people that are pressure fighters. She's already fought people who are boxers, and guess what? She's also an Olympian who's seen it all too at the amateur level. Amanda Serrano's trainer was so frustrated. I'm talking about Coach Maldonado with literally just a fighter engaging in something called boxing, that he proceeded to, between rounds, cross the ring and start berating that fighter for not fighting the way that he wanted her to fight against Amanda Serrano. What the fuck you think is going to happen when Katie Taylor starts boxing? Are you going to go across the ring and start yelling misogynistic, sexist, threatening language at Katie Taylor and her team? I'd like to see how that goes for you. I'm based on the Irish people I've seen showing up. They don't really look like the type of people that are going to be intimidated by all of that. I was at the press conference today, and Jake Paul surprisingly bet Eddie Hearn $1 million on this fight. Eddie Hearn seemed a little bit, not 100%, confident that he wanted to make the bet there publicly. I mean, who would? Nobody just willy-nilly bets $1 million on anything, let alone on a prize fight, which, as we've said before, different things can happen. But I honestly don't think that this is the fight that it's being portrayed to be, for the reasons that I've already given. And when we start talking about how big a fight this is, how big an event this is, I'm going to be honest, it's difficult for me to make a judgment on that. I mean, if somebody told me that the next WNBA game is going to be the biggest WNBA game of all time, I mean, I don't really have the knowledge or the data to really, confirm or deny whether or not that's the truth. If somebody says the next Women's World Cup, finals is the biggest of all time, I mean, what the hell do I know about whether or not that's true or not? I don't really know what Layla Ali was selling on pay-per-view. From what I do remember, I mean, they were charging probably around $20 or $30 for those pay-per-views. But then this fight isn't on pay-per-view. I don't remember how many people attended Christy Martin, Layla Ali, or any other Layla Ali or Christy Martin fights. I don't remember that. But what I will tell you is that neither of these two fighters are as excited to me as Christy Martin was when I saw her fighting. And for now, I'm just going to leave it at that.
That's nostalgia.
Go ahead, nostalgia. Go.
Could be nostalgia, but
nostalgia. Go ahead.
How many times? Let me ask the panel this.
It's my turn.
Let him go.
It's my turn to speak. It's my turn to speak. You want to ask a question? Hold on to your question. Hold on to your question.
Maestro, he's throwing his toys out of the picture.
Hold on to your question. Hold on to your question.
Let him go, Maestro. He's been waiting.
Hold on to it's a joke. Shut up. It's my turn to speak.
You seen two women KO people like this?
All right, go ahead, Maestro. Go ahead. It's a Maestro show. Is that what it is, or is it the Roundtable?
Let him go, Maestro.
All right, it's a joke. Just take the fucking joke. Like, calm down. Check it out. All right.
Relax, everybody. Take it easy.
Katie Taylor's gonna win. She's gonna win the fight. Amanda Serrano could. This freaking featherweight she couldn't stop. She didn't stop Heather Hardy, but she's gonna stop Katie Taylor.
This guy is so mean tonight.
She ain't gonna stop her.
So mean.
Right. I'm just saying, like this plain girl, she couldn't stop. But all of a sudden, she's going to stop Gutierrez, but also she's going to stop Katie. I'm seeing people say, it's 6 rounds. It's going to stop her. Are you out of your mind?
He needs a Prozac.
Are you crazy?
No, I honestly, I like D Styles' demeanor towards some of this because this is the thing, right? Look, I try to like Amanda Serrano. I really do. I try to like a lot of things about her. I really do. But at the end of the day, Heather Hardy's a stationary target whose bread and butter is in the pocket. She was there to be hit, and you couldn't stop her. And that was at featherweight. You just went up to 35. You just rearranged Miriam Gutierrez's face. You couldn't stop her, though. And you couldn't drop her. Katie, who's supposed to be pillow-fisted, dropped her. She's supposed to be pillow-fisted. That was
Plus,
Miriam.
She already beat the sister, okay? Yeah. All right, she already did that. And then she already beat the current undisputed welterweight champion.
I also be honest.
But you're going to be too much? If you guys don't mind, I would like to finish my points. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right? If that's too much, let me just say this, and then I'll be done. And you guys can go do your thing. But that's all I want to say, okay? All I want to say is it's nostalgia. These girls are better fighters than Christy Martin. I love Christy Martin. I've interviewed Christy Martin. I love her to death. But Christy Martin was fighting in an era where these women were like comparable to the tough man contest of today.
I know.
If we keep it honest.
Okay, D-Cell, just to respond to that, because that was directed at me, Ring, with all due respect.
Okay.
I'm not saying that they're not better boxers than Christy Martin. I think that they are. They're probably better boxers than Wolf as well. But those two women were one punch KOing people, and it was exciting. It was.
Marshall.
As a fan, Marshall too. Now, here's my thing about what you said, Ring. I try to like Amanda Serrano too, but honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I find Jordan Maldonado pretty off-putting.
Yeah.
I didn't like at all that behavior in the fight that I was referring to.
Mm-hmm.
And it begs the question: is she even receiving the right, training, guidance, tactical advice when someone like that can become unhinged as a corner person?
Plus, wasn't he the same trainer for Katie's sister too?
Yeah. Let's let G get in. He didn't go yet. Let G get in.
Okay, after G funk. Now I'm gonna say one thing
because we're repeating the same points. But go ahead.
Thanks a lot, Beeb.
Sorry, brother.
Look, when I make predictions, I try to leave personal matters out of it. I look at things from a non-biased, non-emotional perspective. And I base my prediction off of what I see in the ring. Styles always make fights. And I think this is a great classic style matchup. We got a classic boxer versus a banger in Serrano. We got an orthodox fighter versus a southpaw, which is always an interesting matchup. And we got two accomplished women in this fight in the sport of boxing. And I do think it's one of the biggest fights in women's boxing history. Will it be the biggest? I don't know. That's still to be determined. But it's definitely a big fight for women's boxing. So, I'm glad that they're getting some attention because they really need it at this point. Women's boxing is suffering, and this is a shot. This could be a shot of adrenaline in the arm, and I think that's what it's going to be. Now, as far as what I see, Serrano. She likes to come forward, apply a lot of pressure, unleash combinations, vicious body shots. I mean, she throws every punch in the book at her opponents, And Taylor is the classic boxer. I love her feints. I love her jab. She has a beautiful left hook. And she's shown in those Pursuit fights that she can fight on the inside. She was able to hold her own on the inside against, which was a woman who had some physical advantages on her. And to Ring IQ's point, I do agree that I think that Serrano's strength of schedule is something that we have to question from Taylor. I think Taylor has definitely been in with the better competition through her career, although Amanda's more experienced, has a lot more fights. But the one thing that I think sticks out in this fight to me is when I see Amanda applying that pressure and she gets her opponents where she wants them to, and she starts letting go of those combinations, that head is just right there. I don't see a lot of head movement from her, especially when she's being aggressive. So I think if she's going to come out and try to apply pressure, because I think we all can agree that Taylor's not going to stand right there. He's going to try to set traps for her. I think that head is right there on a pedestal, and it's going to be getting touched. I think it's going to be touched often. And I think that's going to be a problem for Serrano in this fight. Now, I think Serrano's going to win some rounds, out of the 10 rounds, maybe 3 or something like that. I'm taking Taylor to win this by decision. I wouldn't be surprised if she drops Serrano with something on the way in. I think her power is underrated too. She has a very sharp right hand as well that she likes to counter with, and that's the punch to throw against a southpaw. But I think it will be entertaining, and I think it will live up to the hype. But I'm sticking with my pick, Taylor, on points. I think that the defense of Serrano, we'll see Taylor take advantage of that. That's my.
I just wanted to say, because I'm about to tap out, I'm about to leave. I appreciate you, Beebs. I appreciate you, everybody, and for inviting me on the show once again. Make sure you go check out Afternoon Sports Slay. Like I said, I'm learning, progressing. I'm still progressing with the boxing thing, but I encourage everybody. I inform the public. Make sure I do really good research. I called that last fight, the Spence versus Ugas fight. I called it on the 10th round. So make sure you really tapped in. You're not going to want to miss it when the official Crawford, hopefully, when that one day happens, Crawford versus Spence, I'm definitely going to do that. I just want everybody, start paying attention to Afternoon Sports Slay. It's only going to get better with time. I'm going to make sure to perfect it. I'm very serious about this. So definitely be on the lookout. I did, maybe, with the Taylor Serrano, maybe I'm missing something on this one. Like I said, sometimes I'm going to be wrong. So we're going to see how it's going to go.
No, always Saturday. Go with your gut. Always go with your gut.
That's true. So we
don't get them all right.
Right. That is true. So I appreciate you guys. I'm gone.
Good. Good to see you again.
Right, Queen. Be good.
What I wanted to follow up on too.
Real quick, Marshall, because they got a couple more topics.
100. I'm saying this as someone who's been to a couple of fights at the Barclays, and when you think about these, devastating knockout performances, I turn back to one. Marilyn Hernandez. Well, Marilyn Hernandez was 26-10-0. She followed that up. And by the way, this was at 138 pounds with a fight that wasn't a KO, also at the Barclays. All right, that was a unanimous decision against Reynoso, and Reynoso was 11-4-3. So I'm not like overly impressed with the power. I'm just not.
Can I add something, Maestro? Well, really, G Funky made a point that I've been wanting to make, that Amanda Serrano is a fighter that's not accustomed to having a lot thrown back at her. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's why the head don't move, because you're not used to somebody that could cut an angle, hit you from the side. So I anticipate that also, that for the first time, we're going to see what kind of boxer she is, because we see you can punch a bit. You got a good jab. It ain't that you a bad fighter. But at what level? Because these people you're fighting, they would never let Katie Taylor fight Adriana Santana, let alone 2 times. They'd crucify her for fighting somebody like that. They wouldn't stop criticizing her for fighting some of the people that you fought. And everybody's regaling your knockout power, which I think is mostly due to nationalism and tribalism. I'm looking at the fight objectively. That look, if I felt Amanda was going to win, I would just fucking say that. But honestly, I'm like, yo, I'm looking at her the same way I look at any other fight, and I'm like, you have power. I can see that, but what else? Because these
this fight does.
At what weight classes though, Ring? Because she's been all over the place in terms of the weight class.
This fight does have a touch of tribalism in it. But let's get to the next topic, man.
Just to say that, so to put that, Daniela Bermudez gave her all kinds of problems.
Yeah.
So,
and she was a bantamweight moving up.
It's a lot of nostalgia.
Yo, gentlemen, I gotta cut out. I gotta take a piss.
All right,
I'll
Ring.
see you. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, Ring.
So,
catch up, brother. Be good. All right, so we were trying to get to this topic last week, but we couldn't get to it. MTK closed up shop, and my question was, what took them so long? I mean, it seems like people knew what was going on behind the scenes. Were they hiding something? Did something come out that they felt as though if they were going to be forced to open the books, that they couldn't cover it up and they were going to end up being in trouble? Like, were they in hot water? And were they about to be indicted for something if they didn't close up shop? So we'll start with you, D-Style.
Look, in my opinion, I don't think they should have closed shop because they cut ties with this guy, 5 years ago? Right? And if it was a big issue, it should have been a big issue. And if even if he is indicted and everything now, like they cut ties with him way before. It's not. It would be one thing if they put sanctions on him and then they cut ties with him, right? It's a little different. But they had already proactively cut ties with him before, okay? And to me, like, we can't make everything, guilty by association. Especially like there has to be like a, what, they cut ties with him, and the only reason they did it, and if you look at their statement, I'm like not even paraphrasing, just from what I remember from what I read, they did this because they felt it was better for the fighters if they did it, because of the way promoters and networks, etc., were acting towards fighters that were signed with MTK. So I think that's why they did it. They did it because they felt, we represent our fighters, and because of what's happening right now, we're going to represent them better if we just end MTK Global or whatever. So I don't think they should have, though. But the circumstance, but I understand why they did it, if that makes sense.
Got you.
But those are my thoughts.
Base, do you know anything about this? Because, that's over your neck of the woods. What's going on behind the scenes with MTK?
Yeah, I'll be totally honest. I decided to kind of stay out of anything that wasn't directly in the ring. What I will say from the limited information I've got is just that it was one of those things, as D-Style said, it's the case of everyone's now talking bad, especially you got people like Bob Arum obviously coming out talking crazy about, we don't associate ourselves with Pro Bellum and MTK and whatnot. And so I just think it was a case of all of these fighters were potentially now going to get blackballed just by method of preservation by the bigger all the bigger channels and the bigger promotions, who obviously they are in league with in order to make these fights and make money. So from that point of view, it was a case of, well, if this is going to happen, it's going to happen for at least a year or two at minimum. Then you've got to try and get back in graces, and it's always going to be sort of coming up in discussion afterwards. Maybe it's better to just cancel it now and probably rebrand, go into hiding, rebrand again in a year down the line and come back with sort of the same people in charge. That's kind of the way I see it going, but I don't know too much about it.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Maestro, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think they were hiding something all along, and do you think paper trail's starting to come back to them?
The entire MTK situation to me was it was always confusing from the beginning, because people remember, I believe it was called MGM at one point. and then it became MTK. And for those of you who don't know, that stands for Mac the Knife. Matthew Macklin, the fighter. So they used his name, but he, from my understanding, was never really the owner of the operation. And then apparently Daniel Kinahan was involved in the business side of things and was like the financier of the operation, but they disassociated themselves from him, but kept the name MTK Global now. But MTK Global doesn't mean Kinahan, it means Mac the Knife. So it was, from a business side of thing, it was kind of confusing to me. But what I really didn't understand is why they just didn't shut it down and, rebrand themselves under a new name with a new business and just start it all from there. I mean, typically what happens is, let's say you hire a contractor, for instance, to work on your house, and they really mess stuff up, and then you go to sue them. All they have to do is close up shop and restart a new business, and you can't do anything because that business no longer exists. So I don't know why they left themselves so exposed. I agree with D-Style. There really wasn't anything there after the disassociation from Kinahan, which happened a couple years ago. But from a PR point, again, I don't understand why they just didn't shut down the operation, restart it under a new name, and just move forward. But they didn't do that.
Gotcha. All right, next topic. Erik Morales on his podcast announced that Jaime Munguia is going to be fighting Daniel Jacobs in a catchweight on June 11th. The only question I have is why. To me, this fight is kind of...
The fight's not happening anymore.
Oh, they took that. Are you sure?
Yeah, it's not happening anymore. Dispute over money.
The Daniel Jacobs one, or are you talking about the other?
The Daniel Jacobs one. That's why I heard that a couple of days ago. It's no longer happening.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we can nix that one then.
Well, that's good because I hate catch weights.
Yeah, there's supposed to be a catchweight bout. Yeah,
Plus, Erik Morales can say whatever the fuck he wants to say. If he wants to say that.
This is kind of so again, who's Jaime Munguia gonna fight? Because the Charlo was who was the fight that fell through for him?
It was Charlo.
Charlo, right?
Yeah.
They had the Charlo fight for him all set, and now this one's fall through. So what the hell are they gonna do with him now? They're gonna fight like Chris Eubank or something?
That would be a good one.
That would be a bad one, huh? All right,
it would be a good one. Yeah, I like that fight.
This guy's running out of options. And what's he gonna do? He's gonna be inactive?
Well, he's gonna have to fight for a vacant title, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah, something. Yeah, be crazy. So
Yeah,
last topic. Go ahead, G.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Go ahead.
Last topic of the night: was Dillian White overrated, and will he ever become heavyweight champion? Base, was Dillian White overrated, and will he ever become heavyweight champion? What do you think?
I don't think he was overrated because I don't think a lot of people rated him. If I'm gonna be real, I always did, but I know, for instance, Maestro has been on Monday Night Smoke many times saying he doesn't think he's that great, which is fine. It is what it is. But I've always thought that he was one of the better heavyweights out there. I definitely had him in the top 5, possibly top 4, depending on who you ask at the time. But ultimately, it just came up against someone that on that night was better than him, and he couldn't implement the game plan that he wanted to for whatever reason that was. Can he be world heavyweight champion? I mean, at this current time, no, but that all depends on if belts start getting fragmented, possibly picking up a vacant or putting himself in situation to get a title that way. Because one good thing about him at the moment is maybe not over stateside, but in the UK, he's still one of the biggest names in the heavyweight division. So if he's got himself with, whether it's Sky Sports or whether it's the Zone and Matchroom, he must be able to position himself to a way to get into the WBO rankings after the Joyce Parker fight, or the WBA, even with even the regular title with Bryan, Trevor Bryan and Daniel Dubois. So in that sense, he might be able to pick up a version of a title, but it's not going to be from any of the current crop, in my opinion.
Okay. D-Style, do you think Dillian White was overrated, and do you think he'll ever become champion?
Yes, I do believe he was overrated. Now, granted, depends who you ask, but we had individuals out here that believed he was better than Wilder. That believed that because they believed that Dillian White was fighting a superior crop of heavyweights than Wilder was, and we were going to witness that, and it was going to manifest in the fight, and we saw what happened. So I think when you don't just look at the box rec or the paper, and you look at Dillian White, who look, I don't have issues with White, or anything like that. Like, I don't think he's terrible, but I just don't think he was an elite heavyweight. It took him 2 cracks to an old Povetkin. I thought the Parker fight could have gone either way. He was on clear streak in the last, portion of that fight. The Chisora fight, first one was close in my opinion. And the second fight, he did knock him out, so credit to him. Okay, but he was a good heavyweight who I think was being a little too overhyped, in my opinion, by a lot of folks out here. And many of which, and I'm not saying this is base, but many of which were guys that just didn't like Wilder, to be honest with you.
Okay. G-Funky, do you think Dillian White was overrated? And do you think this man can ever become heavyweight champion?
I mean, that's kind of a tricky question because, to D-Style's point, there was a lot of people who were rating White, like he said, based off of their hatred for Deontay Wilder, especially here in the YouTube boxing community. We get that too often, where if a group of people support this fighter, we're gonna hate him and boost this fighter up, and it's like it's just silly, But in my opinion, looking at White, looking at the way he fights, and yeah, he's definitely overrated. Definitely. I never thought much of White. I think he's very flawed fundamentally. He's got bad footwork, bad balance. He throws punches that just look very sloppy at times. I think he fights too emotional. We see that often where he's trying to punch guys, attack guys after the bell. We see him trying to hit guys behind the head often and things like that. Yeah, for me, he's always been overrated, and I think he's done all that he can do. He's got his crack at the belt, and he came up short, and I feel like what we saw with him against Tyson Fury is that's just Dillian White. He's just a guy that these top dudes will fight, and it'll be like a tune-up. I don't think he beats any of these top heavyweights. I just don't.
I still have him beating Wilder, but you guys go.
No, I mean, look, Wilder, who knows how much he's got left at this point. But I still would pick Wilder to beat White. I just think he makes too many mistakes, man. And that's just my 2 cents on it. Gotcha.
Maestro, was Dillian White overrated, and will he ever become champion?
Well, it depends on who you're speaking about. The people who had him beating Tyson Fury definitely overrated him. The people who thought that Tyson Fury was going to dominate him, which he did, obviously didn't overrate him. Base is in the first category of people, and D-Style's in the second. So, I mean, again, it depends on who you're talking about. My whole thing with Dillian White is, I mean, his level his level in the heavyweight division to me is about equal with Oscar Rivas, a guy who he beat on paper, but it was a very competitive fight. That's his level. This is a guy who got knocked out by a 41-year-old Alexander Povetkin, who rematched Povetkin and beat him in the rematch. But at that point, Povetkin was a cherry pick. He picked Povetkin. It was almost like a stay busy fight, and then he got knocked out. So when I was on Monday Night Spoke and channels like that in the UK, which Base mentioned, I would essentially say that I think Joe Joyce beats him, and people would act like I was insulting him. I thought that Joe Joyce beat him when I said it, and I still think Joe Joyce would beat him now. I don't agree that he would beat Deontay Wilder. Everything that he was supposed to do against Fury, Deontay Wilder did better against Fury, definitely under the tutelage of Malik Scott. Deontay Wilder punched more effectively to the body. Deontay Wilder's jab to the body and jab to the head was much better. Deontay Wilder dropped Tyson Fury twice. Deontay Wilder's right hand straight to the body and even kind of a wraparound right hand was more effective. There isn't one thing that Dillian White did better against Tyson Fury than Deontay Wilder did better than Tyson Fury in their two fights, the last two fights anyways. And the other thing I want to say too is in terms of where he goes from here. Well, where does he go from here? Joe Joyce, I think, beats him. Parker got a really bad decision against him that included a headbutt being called a knockdown. I think Parker beats him, especially now under Andy Lee. I've seen improvement. Deontay Wilder, I've already mentioned. Daniel Dynamite Dubois, I think that would be an interesting crossroads fight for the two of them. But I think Daniel Dubois' jab is better. And I think his balance is better as well. The problem with Dillian White is everyone's seen what his weaknesses are. Left uppercut, Povetkin. Right uppercut, AJ and Fury. Issues with stamina, right? Issues with being wild and like G-Funky said, kind of inability to fight under control. That's who he is. He's always going to be in exciting fights because he's vulnerable. But I didn't overrate him. And I think at this point, his chances of winning a heavyweight title are slim unless you're including like a Trevor Bryant heavyweight title, like a WBA or maybe an IBO if somebody decides to vacate that or something like that. But I don't see him beating any of the names that I've already mentioned.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. That was a great show. A little bit heated, but we got through it.
Just a bit.
A lot of nostalgic. A lot of nostalgia. But we'll be back for another one next week. Thank you, everyone in the chat, and have a great night, everyone.
What's up, guys?
Thank you.